Hello and welcome or welcome back to Fix My AG Doll. My name is Sarah and today we're deep diving into my Samantha collection. I have quite a few new outfits since the last time I posted about my Samantha collection, but I'll link that video down below in case you're interested. We are going to be diving into Pleasant Company, Be Forever, all the stuff in between. Samantha's collection is giant, so I don't have all the outfits. If you came here looking for that, I apologize. I can't give that to you, but I do have a lot of outfits from her collection. As we go through this, I'll be posting what the cost of the items were that I have relative to catalogs that I'll be referencing. So for the old Pleasant Company outfits, I have a catalog from 1994. And for the newer some of the newer items, I have a 2005 catalog. And yeah, I don't have a catalog that has like Be Forever items, but yeah. I adjust it for inflation based on what we have most recently, which is like February 2025. So that's that. Now that that's out of the way, say hello to my Miss Samantha. I love my Samantha doll. I am like very picky about Samantha's, and I think it probably stems from the fact that I look a lot like Samantha. I have brown hair, I have brown eyes, and I think that that's probably one of the major reasons why Samantha was so popular, is because she looked like a large portion of the population of people with that combination of features. It's the most common combination of features in the US. So yeah, but you may notice she is a white body doll. I was very excited about that when I purchased this lot of Samantha items. Again, I'll link that down below. I did not know that she was going to be a white body. I had my suspicions just based off of the fact that she had this really light hair and the specific shade of her eyes, but I didn't know for sure. So when our girly Miss Sam arrived and I saw she had a white body, I was very, very excited, to say the least. I'm not a person who's like itching to get, a bunch of white body dolls or even care to have other white body dolls, but for Samantha in particular, I just really like her a lot more with the light brown hair. I really don't like that they changed her to having like darker brown hair. I personally wish that they had changed Molly to have darker brown hair and kept Samantha with the lighter brown hair. And, if you know about like the different variants of Samantha, like you're much more likely to find her with the lighter brown hair with a white body than with a tan body. So yeah, I ended up keeping her and I did restore her. I also have a video of that, and yeah, definitely like bonded with her and debated about whether I want to keep her or not for a while. And as soon as I had that like first photo shoot with her, I was like, I'm keeping this girly, she's mine. So she does have a pair of bloomers, which are very much outstretched, but that it is what it is. And yeah, so this is what she looks like. And I did fix up her hair when I restored her. I like kind of like bigger, bouncier curls, so that's the look that I gave her. Yeah, I just think she looks a lot cuter that way. So what you can expect for the rest of this video is starting off with looking at those original 6 outfits from Pleasant Company and the stories associated with it. As we go along, I'll also post references from her books up on the screen so you can compare like illustrations and historical references to the garments themselves, and sometimes accessories as well. And then at the end I'll also go through kind of my like non-doll garment things, so in particular like books and craft books and all that kind of stuff if you're interested as well. So thank you so much, and I just have to plug, like, if you haven't already subscribed, please consider subscribing. It really, 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 really helps me out. And yeah, let's jump to it. Emily is looking absolutely stunning in Samantha's Christmas Story outfit. So this is of course from the Samantha Surprise book, the third book in the series. This is called her Cranberry party dress. This dress is a taffeta dress. It has white stockings and this white bow. She is pictured in her meat shoes with this outfit in the catalog. It did not come with a special pair of shoes or anything. This dress has a couple of different versions in terms of the color of the dress, the lacing of the dress. So those kinds of like nitty-gritty details are sometimes things that collectors go wild for, you know, scavenge hunting all of the things, all of the different iterations of the dress that were made. Mine is kind of a brighter red version, and it doesn't have the heart lace. It has like the regular floral lace. So this dress back in 1994 with the stockings and the hair ribbon would have cost you $20. And I also have here one of my little Clara dolls. I have two. You'll see one later with a different Christmas dress. This is a newer version. I don't think it's like very new, but I don't know. I have a hard time placing when she's from. I don't think she's from the 80s or like early 90s. She might be like a late 90s, 2000s, but let me know in the comments if you think differently. So the doll would have cost you $14 back in the day, in 1994. The interesting thing about this doll is that like her arms move, and she does have porcelain, like an actual porcelain face, but her body is squishy. You could of course get other things like her real gingerbread house, her music box. I'm personally not really interested in the gingerbread house. I don't know, I have asthma and I'm like very mold sensitive, so I'm just scared about having gingerbread from like, you know, 40 years ago laying around. But the music box is definitely something that's on my list. Samantha Surprise is honestly kind of one of her more boring books. Not very much stuff happens. She is basically just getting used to the idea that her Uncle Guard is dating someone, and I don't know, it kind of goes from like a frenemies to friends story. So she initially doesn't like Aunt Cornelia, or she eventually becomes Aunt Cornelia, spoiler I guess. By the end, she really likes Cornelia after having some experiences with her and bonding and realizing they have a lot more in common, and ends up giving her a really nice Christmas present. So yeah, it's kind of a boring book, not really very much happens. But as you might imagine, this dress comes up in the story on Christmas when they have their little family get together. Next we have Miss Melody wearing Samantha's Saves the Day outfit. So this is of course her summer story. This is actually called her Midi dress with tam. So it's described as every Victorian girl had a Midi dress, a most popular style in 1904. Samantha's trimmed in black braid with an anchor, a crest, and stars on the back of the big square collar. A shiny brass bosun whistle hangs on a cord around her neck. With the midi, Samantha wears a sailor's tam for an outfit that is truly ship-shape. Wow, that's hilarious. So as you can see in the catalog, there are so many accoutrements that Samantha has paired with this outfit. I used to have some of the nature paraphernalia, but it was in TLC shape, and I decided to sell it to someone who could probably fix it up better than I could. So unfortunately I don't have that anymore, but I definitely want to reacquire it. So the dress with the tam would have cost you $22, and of course that includes the whistle as well. And then the high button shoes were sold separately for $8. I really like the shoes. My biggest qualm is that, at least the version that I have, I don't know, maybe if you have later versions it's different, but there's no Velcro or zip and the buttons, they don't really like come off. So you kind of have to jam her foot in there, which just makes me a little bit nervous, and I think that's why so many like buttons are missing over time. So that's my like one gripe with this outfit, but overall I think it's a very cute outfit. In the pictures, she's styled with like the hat having the bow on the side. I prefer it on the front. I think it looks cuter on the front personally. Yeah, so in this book, Samantha Saves the Day. It's one of my favorite books. There's so much that happens. Just to give a brief summary, as you might imagine, it's a summer story. So she's going out to her family cabin with some of her family members, and one thing leads to another, and her cousins, I guess you could call them, Agnes and Agatha, end up taking a boat to an island, and this same boat ride is the boat ride that killed her parents, Samantha's parents, like orphaning her because of a storm. And what do you know, a storm hits, and it's kind of touch and go for a while whether or not they can make it back. Of course they do make it back. So yeah, Samantha actually does save the day in this story, in my opinion. Yeah, it's a really good book. It's very, very sentimental. There are a lot of, this is really like the only book, in my opinion, where we really see Samantha actually processing her grief of her parents and kind of talking about the loss of her parents with her family members and thinking about her parents. So I just think that that's a very sweet story as someone who's lost a parent. I just thought that that was a really nice addition that I wish would have been in her stories a little bit more. Josefina is modeling Samantha's iconic meat dress. So of course you couldn't buy the meat dress separately. You had to get that as part of buying the Samantha doll, but you could buy the accessories. So the accessories included her little pin, the hat, a handkerchief, and her purse, which would have been $20. So this is of course from the Meet Samantha book. I can't remember if she wears it at other points throughout her mainline series. I'll pop up pictures if I can find them. So Meet Samantha's book it's not the most exciting, but it's pretty fun, mostly because Nellie is there. I think that Nellie is kind of the star of the show. So basic plot points of the book are that she meets this Irish girl who's become a servant next door named Nellie, and Nellie is a lot visibly poorer and kind of sickly, especially in comparison to Samantha. But Samantha is really intrigued by Nellie and starts to develop a friendship with her, and she ends up giving her doll, which later when Nellie came out, like that doll, the Lydia doll, is the doll that she gave to Samantha, or to Nellie. At one point they end up going to where Samantha's now no longer, but used to be a servant's house, because Jessie, this woman, she used to work for the family, and then she witnessed her submitting her resignation, and Samantha's very confused about why, and Nellie's like, oh, well, it's probably because she's having a baby, and Samantha's like, what are you talking about? That doesn't make any sense. That's really weird. And then they sneak off into the middle of the night and find out that, yes, indeed, Jessie did have a baby, and that's why she's no longer working for the family. Weird subplot, but really the beautiful part about this book is watching that friendship between Nellie and Samantha grow. I do think it's a very, very special friendship that I loved to just read throughout all of her books, like short stories included. I forgot to mention that the illustrations that I'm putting up on the screen are going to be a mix of the older and newer illustrations. I have both book sets, the ones that have the old illustrations that were retired and redrawn. So yeah, that's there. Well, who do we have here? Of course, it's none other than Miss Claudie Wells modeling Samantha's lesson story items. So you can see Claudie is sitting at Samantha's desk, which we'll go over in just a minute. I love the school sets. Like, I'm obsessed with the school sets. I want the entire school sets for all the dolls. I just think it's so cute. So let's go through it one by one. So first we have the lunch tin, and it is a proper tin. And inside of the tin, we have her lunch. So we have a gingerbread man, a gingerbread person. We have a delicious peach. Not that I've tasted it, but it looks delicious. And we have a sandwich. And of course, everyone's favorite, a deviled egg. With a little pepper on it. And it comes with this handkerchief. Mine still has the little sticker that says made in China for pleasant company. But it's rather large. It's much bigger than the handkerchiefs that come in the meat accessories. The lunch would have cost you $18 back in the day in 1994. And of course, it all fits perfectly in there for them to enjoy their lunch. Why don't we bring out Claudie to show off the outfit? There we go. Okay, I just think Claudie looks so adorable in this outfit. Oh my God, I'm like screaming. She's so cute. So this is the Buster Brown dress. And this dress, well, they called it the flannel school dress. And it came with the hair ribbon and the dress, nothing else, for $20, which is a lot of money for a dress and a bow. And it's pictured with her meat tights and her meat shoes. The pleated skirt was sewn with it was top stitched, and that was intentional because it's how dresses would have come back in the day. And then you could, as the person receiving this, take those top stitches out. The person who I bought this from kept theirs in, and I've kept mine in just to preserve it, but you know, it does look better with the top stitch actually taken out. So now let's talk about the desk. So the desk, big pieces of wood with the metal. Mine still has like the made in Taiwan for pleasant company sticker on the bottom. But yeah, this is all one hunk of wood. You can see mine's a little bit beat up, but honestly, it gives it like a vintage feel. Like this is probably what they would have, you know, looked like in school after being used from so many kids over and over again that it really does not bother me. In fact, I think it adds to the storytelling. So this school desk would have cost you $60 back in 1994. That's a lot of money. I will say the one thing that's like really annoying about the school desks is that there's not really a great way to put the dolls in and have them look kind of normal. I wish that there was like something for them, for their feet to hold on to, but you know, it is what it is. Can't win them all. For the school desk, it says, when Samantha was asked a question by her teacher at Miss Crampton's academy, she had to stand next to her Victorian desk to answer. When she sat down again, she might find a secret note from her friend Helen tucked into the metal curlicues of her hardwood desk. You can pass secret notes to Samantha too, but watch out for Miss Crampton. Absolutely iconic. So the only thing that I'm missing is the book strap and supplies, and my goal is to collect that. So maybe one day soon you'll see that. I love this, and Samantha Learns a Lesson is a wonderful book. It's probably my favorite from the series. You really see a lot of friendship building between her and Nellie. She helps Nellie learn how to read, do arithmetic, and yeah, their friendship really truly blossoms quite a bit. I don't want to spoil too much because I think this is, if you're going to read one book, you should read this book. It's wonderful. Ivy is wearing Samantha's birthday dress, which was also called her Lacy pinafore dress and rosebud circlet. I kind of have her fashionably looking off to the side so you can see the full effect of the circlet. So this one in the 1994 catalog, it says, frilly and fanciful, Samantha's birthday dress is of rose and white striped taffeta. It's covered with a crisp white pinafore that has ruffled lace bretelles and a wide sash that ties into a huge bow. There are even party socks to go with it, but the crowning glory of this outfit is Cranberry's gift, the old-fashioned circlet of rosebuds that once belonged to Samantha's mother. Tie it around Samantha's head and let the soft ribbons float on her dark curls. Beautiful description. They really knew what they were doing with those descriptions. So yes, it came with the circlet, the dress, the pinafore, and the socks, and she's pictured with her meat shoes. I've paired it with the shoes from Nellie's spring dress. I think it matches, so that's what I went with. And of course, this is part of the glorious birthday spread with the table and chairs and little treats and fans. I really hope to one day have the lemonade set and the party treats. I think they're so cute. It's absolutely iconic. I did have the doll pram at one point. I got it for $2 at an estate sale, but I ended up reselling it just because it had like some of the pieces missing, like the rubber that went around the wheels. So I was like, I'll give it to someone who, you know, might want to fix this up or is okay with this being in, you know, TLC condition, and I'll wait for a better condition one in the future. So in the Happy Birthday Samantha story, main plot points are, it's obviously her birthday. Eddie Ryland, her local bully, plays some tricks on her. You get to see a lot of Agnes and Agatha, who I think are the funniest people in the entire series. They just have some great one-liners in the books. They're very like New York elitist, nose in the air kind of girlies, and I live for that. She has her birthday party, and then the plot kind of like immediately takes like a left turn and switches to being more of a progressive era story, focusing around the women's rights to vote. They stumble upon a march that's going on in New York City, and they see Aunt Cornelia giving a speech about the importance of women's right to vote. Yeah, so kind of weird and jarring how it ends up taking such a striking turn, but a very important story to tell. Yeah, I think it's a decently fun book. Not my favorite of her series, but still a good time to be had. In the catalog, she's pictured with having like the most puffy sleeves with this, and I just like can't get them to stay exactly the way that it's pictured in the catalog. It might be because the dress is so old. I mean, I'm pretty sure that this dress is tagged. I'll put in there what it's actually tagged. I'm pretty sure it's like late 80s or early 90s. So it could just be that, you know, the fabric is so worn and thin over the years that it just won't hold like that. But here we are. I will also show you what the dress looks like without the pinafore. So the pinafore is not velcroed or buttoned. It's an actual like tie. And without the pinafore, I really think the pinafore just kind of like makes the dress, because without it, it's just kind of like this plain stripy dress. And I think I've mentioned this in videos before, but I, for one, was like really disappointed by the quality of this fabric, this like taffeta. It's just like so thin and cheap feeling. Like you can see my fingers through it. So yeah, I wasn't super thrilled about that, but it is what it is. Kirsten is wearing Samantha's outfit from the Changes for Samantha story. So this is her original winter cape, or her, I guess I should say her original like winter coat type thing that she had. She had multiple iterations, which we will see later on in this video. This is from her Changes for Samantha story. The plaid cape and gators came together, so that would have been $22. And then the hat and muff were sold separately, and that would have been $14. So altogether, if you wanted the entire look, that would have cost you $36, which is kind of a lot of money. But let me read the description. So for the cape and gators, it says, Samantha looks like a sophisticated city girl in her cape of black watch plaid. It's trimmed in navy soutache, that's my French interpretation of that word, braid, and ties with a silk cord. When she goes skating in Central Park, slip her plaid gaiters over her shoes to keep her legs warm. The most perfect accessories you can imagine are Samantha's stylish hat and muff made of make-believe fur. Nothing could be prettier or cozier for a young Victorian lady. Now, the thing that drives me the most crazy is that I used to have the ice skates. I did. And I sold them. That is like one of my biggest regrets, truly, in like collecting, is selling those winter skates, because they are so hard to find in good condition. I'm just like so annoyed that I did that. So one day I'll recollect those, but who knows when that will be. So this story is the Changes for Samantha story. I mean, it's a really good story. It's kind of the origin story for Nellie being in Samantha's family. So it ends up, again, making a long story short, it ends up with Samantha kind of breaking out Nellie and her two younger sisters from this horrible place that profits off of child labor, and the woman who was running it was threatening to send the girls on an orphan train, which, yes, was a thing in the United States. And Samantha's like, no, Nellie can't leave. I can't have Nellie leave me. She's my best friend. She's like a sister to me. And so, yeah, she ends up kind of busting them out of there and hiding them in her attic. And eventually Uncle Guard and Aunt Cornelia decide to adopt Nellie and her sisters, so they become official members of the family. It's a very, very sweet story, and if you read Nellie's story, her meat book, her story, Nellie's Promise it's called, her story picks up like pretty much right from there, from the adoption of them. So this is the last set of outfits that would have been available in 1994, in my reference catalog. The first thing that we have is Samantha's Lacy whites, which I love to have underneath my Samantha's outfits whenever A, it fits, B, doesn't show through, and yeah, I think it's a really, really cute addition, having all the little historically accurate undergarment pieces. These are typically, actually I don't know of an exception, but feel free to correct me in the comments, but these are paired with the Changes stories in the catalog. So these are called her Lacy whites, and it says, Samantha's underthings are really too pretty to hide under her dresses. Her underwaist with pink ribbon and lace has elastic garters to hold up her long white stockings. It buttons to a full petticoat that's tucked and trimmed with lace and ribbons too. So I don't have the stockings. Those are like so hard to find. But one day, hopefully, I'll have those. They would have cost you $14 back in the day. Yeah, I think it's really, really cute. I love all the lace detailing. I love the buttons. And then I specifically hung these out. Normally these would be underneath, but this is what like you would fasten to the stockings underneath. And so these are two separate pieces. So these are real buttons. So you fasten the top to the bottom. So cute. Nenea is absolutely rocking Samantha's tea dress. So now these are kind of like the extras outfits that you could get. So they're not necessarily associated with a story, like in terms of like being on the cover, but they were still, you know, some of them were in illustrations, and you could still, you know, use them to ideally play something. So this would be tea. The one that Mary Ellen is wearing is play. So for the tea dress, it says, Samantha practiced her manners during afternoon tea with Cranberry. She tried to act like a proper young lady in her starched white dress and its big detachable Bertha collar trimmed with rosette and ruffles. It comes with a pink satin hair bow that matches the lovely wide sash and a pair of white socks. Be careful she doesn't spill tea on such a pretty dress. I don't have the socks that come with this, and weirdly in the catalog it doesn't actually have the socks picture with it. That's really weird, but I paired it with a different pair of white socks that I think look just fine. And you would have to buy the shoes separately, so those are the white party slippers. It says Samantha's shiny white patent slippers are trimmed with bows that match her tea dress. How pretty. So the shoes would have been $8, the tea dress would have been $24, so 24 plus 8, $32 for the whole look if you wanted it. I think this outfit is very funny because it's so big and that's, you know, historically accurate. Like there's just so much room up here. It's so poofy. That was just the style, but it just looks really, really funny on the American Girl dolls. I think that Nenea looks very pretty in it. I think she's one of the American Girl dolls that like pull off this like stark white color, which is why I put her in it. Maybe it's because she has like color in her skin, so she, you know, there's a little bit of a contrast there, and she doesn't look like a ghost. I think she looks cute. Let me know if you agree in the comments. And I think that her little tendril here looks so perfect with the little bow. Like they said, this is a removable piece here, so you could hypothetically just wear it with the dress as well, but I think the Bertha completes the look. And here we have Mary Ellen in the play dress. I'm having her kind of look off to the side so you can also admire the pretty bow that's over here. So it says, Samantha dressed like a proper young lady even when she was playing. Her dress of blue and white window pane check was covered with a roughly play pinafore. She was supposed to keep the dress clean and matching hair bow tied, even when she was climbing trees or chasing bratty Eddie Ryland. A pair of white socks is included. I don't have white socks. She's wearing white tights, and these are a different pair of shoes, but we have all the other components. Again, socks are not pictured in the catalog, which is weird, but the whole outfit cost you $22 back in the day. This is probably one of my favorite Samantha outfits. It's the first outfit we see her in the books. She also wears it in the movie, in the opening scene that mimics the opening scene of the book. Yeah, I think it's really fun. I really like this color. I like the check pattern. It's very like childish, and I mean that like in a good way. Like she looks like a child in it. It's very well coordinated. I think the pinafore is absolutely adorable. You have like the functioning little pocket here, and I think the dress looks cute with or without the pinafore on. Yeah, I think overall really great look, and I think that this shade of blue again is like one that's very flattering, and a lot of different dolls look very cute in it. I kind of think of this as like the teddy bear outfit because any doll wearing it just looks cute like a little teddy bear. And this is what it looks like without the pinafore on. So this collar that's here, you can either pop it in front of or behind the collar. I had it behind this time that I had her on. So cute. I love it. Doesn't Mary Ellen just look so sweet? I'm obsessed. So now we have a couple of limited or special edition outfits as well as a movie outfit. Rebecca is wearing one of Samantha's swimsuit iteration. She has this one, and then she also has one with a straw hat. I like both of them equally. I honestly went for the one that I could find for the best price, which happened to be this one. I'm obsessed with this outfit. This is definitely in like my top 5 Samantha outfits. I think any doll looks so stinking cute in this. I just find that swimsuits looking like this is so funny and just so foreign to us like nowadays, but the outfits are just so adorable. And again, it just like brings like a very like childlike quality to the dolls. I'm absolutely obsessed with it. Yeah, this is awesome. Like thinking about it in practicality, I'm like, didn't they like risk drowning wearing these like really heavy garments, like soaked? I can only imagine like how heavy all of this was when it was completely wet, but you know, it is what it is. The times are different now. So this outfit, we have the bonnet, the swimsuit like part with the trousers, and then the skirt that is a separate detachable piece, as well as the shoes. I'm not sure if it originally came with socks or not, but I always see her pictured with socks, so I gave her a pair of like random black socks that I had lying around. It also had like the piney point ring, but I just didn't want that because it's pretty big and I don't really have anywhere to put it, so I don't have that. Apologies. So like I said, this skirt does come off. It has a fasten in the back. It has a metal fasten, like that. And then she's left with trousers. Very cute. Love this. It's definitely not steamed, but that's okay. I won't tell if he won't tell. Nellie is just dying to show you this outfit. And so this outfit is associated with the movie, the Samantha movie, which is the first American Girl doll movie that came out. I'm just flipping through the pages of my catalog now because I know you could, yep, it's in my catalog, woohoo! So this outfit is called Samantha's Holiday Coat. So obviously it's a rebrand of her original cape. And it says, this velveteen coat has faux fur trim. Samantha's hat has a matching velveteen band and pretty flowers, includes black knitted mittens and trading cards. And so from this December 2006 catalog, that would have set you back $26. I really like this outfit. I feel like I say that for every single one in the not original category. I think that they did a nice job with the color. The fur feels so luxurious. I will say, like, the asymmetrical fastens are kind of weird, but I think that those are of the time. The hat, I mean, it's solid structure. I like the ribbon. I like that they added little flowers there. Yeah, I think it's really cute. I think the only other thing I would have requested is a pair of boots. Like, why doesn't she have a pair of boots? I have her Nellie wearing Rebecca's school shoes, which I think match the aesthetic of, you know, the kind of boots that Samantha would have been wearing. And the thing that I love about this coat is how warm it looks and feels. So I'm gonna unfasten these and then show you. So there's like no Velcro with this outfit, by the way. If I could just get this undone. Fine motor skills, please bestow upon me. There we go. There's also these metal fastens here, just to make sure it's nice and tightly closed. But look at this, like, soft fur. Like, you know that this doll is ready for a New York winter. She is not going to be cold at all. So it goes all the way behind and all the way down the entire coat. It's so nice. Love it. And the gloves are actually on a string. Nellie's not feeling shy today. So you can see they're just connected with a piece of yarn, and this is what they look like. Close up, just knitted, standard gloves. Here is Ruthie modeling the lawn party outfit. I love this outfit. Again, this is also in my top 5. Love, love, love this outfit. Love love Ruthie in this in particular. It's so adorable. I just feel like any doll can pull this off and just look like an Edwardian queen. I love it, I love it. If I could just get her to hold this, there we go. The shoes that I have on her are very similar to the shoes that she's modeled in. So she wears like socks and shoes, but those were sold separately. These are actually Rebecca's Hanukkah shoes, which are nearly identical to these like lawn party shoes that she's, you know, modeled with, but that were sold separately. And the only difference is that Rebecca's shoes only has 1 bow and the lawn party shoes had 2 bows. And I have Ruthie here on a stand because these shoes have like a little heel and it makes it almost impossible for the doll to stand without kind of looking like crazy, like totally lurching forward and looking like she's about to fall onto the ground. This hat is so iconic. I love it. You have the flowers on the front and it's ruffled all the way around. It has a satin bow. The inside is like woven. So cute. I'm obsessed. That mallet will not stay in her hand. But yeah, it looks like very layered. It looks very historically accurate, at least to me. Yeah, I just love this outfit. I wish the material were a little thicker. It feels like a linen to me, which, you know, for a summer lawn party game would have been appropriate at the time, but you can see Ruthie's like skin tone coming through completely, and yeah, I just wish that it was a little tiny bit thicker, but I do love all the embellishments, all the little lace detailings, the frills, very, very fancy. Yeah, I just think that this is an absolute win. And I love that it also came with, you know, these little actual like lawn party accessory pieces for her to play croquet. Oh, that's a Rebecca hair. Gross, sorry. Very cute. We're moving on now to the Be Forever era, which isn't necessarily my favorite era for most dolls. I will say Samantha, she does have some cute outfits. I should say they're all cute, but she has some that I actually sometimes like prefer to their not Be Forever counterparts, is what I was trying to get at. This is her bicycling outfit modeled by Kit, and I really love this outfit. I don't think it's necessarily other people's favorites. I do prefer the original one, but I think that this one is still really, really cute. I like that the pants are really sturdy. They're really made with high quality fabric, in my opinion. I like the shirt. Wish it wasn't so translucent, or that maybe we would have gotten like an undershirt to go with it. This hat, I really like, very sturdy, strong quality. The hair ribbon, I mean, it's your typical hair ribbon. I will say that kind of just felt a little bit random to me. Like, why would you do both a hat and a hair ribbon? I don't really like it because then, as you can see on my kit, like it's kind of like modeled awkwardly. Like you can pick one or the other, or put them on at the same time, and it looks like very busy on the head, but whatever. And then her gators, which strap onto the bottom of her shoes. In this outfit, I also just put on a pair of Addie's socks and boots as well, so that you have like the full look. Honestly, like I wish instead of the hair bow that there would have been maybe like a scarf or gloves or something else that, you know, a girl Samantha's age would have worn while going biking, or maybe investment in like a higher quality fabric for the shirt. I will say with the shirt, I do love the embroidery and stitching. It's very, very pretty, and the actual pattern on the shirt too as well is very pretty. Overall, I really like this outfit. I don't think that they hit the nail on the head in terms of like, you know, comparing to the first iteration, but I think that they did a pretty decent job considering that they probably had budget cuts as compared to the first time around. Next up, we have Caroline modeling Samantha's Be Forever nightgown. I do prefer this one compared to the original one, though I think that the original one may be a little bit more historically accurate. Pink generally isn't my favorite color, but this is like a very light pink, and I don't know, I think it suits more skin tones rather than like the stark white. I love the lacy details and the bows and the buttons. I love the little satiny slippers with the bows. They do have an elastic on the back. I do think it is a cheaper version of what she had originally, but again, it just personally fits my aesthetic interests a little bit more, and I don't know, it doesn't feel very cheap. I mean, maybe you could argue like the plastic on the bottom of the slippers is a little bit cheap, but I think it gets the job done, and I think it looks really nice. And again, I think a lot of different dolls can really pull this off, whereas a stark white, although probably more historically accurate, is a little bit more difficult to pull off. Here we have Addie in Samantha's Be Forever winter coat. I'll put up the official name on the screen. I don't remember exactly what it's called. I like this one better than the original too. I have to admit, I think that this outfit is just a lot more cozy, and the cape that Samantha wears in the Changes book, and you know, that's part of the original release, or I guess the second half of the original release for Samantha, is not as historically accurate. That would have been a little bit of a dated outfit for her. People would have been wearing something maybe a little bit more similar to this, from what I understand in the research I've done. Yeah, but I do think that it's a prettier outfit. I honestly think that putting them together would have been so great, like having this outfit, but instead of the white, having that like green plaid trim, or not trim, but green plaid fabric, with some of this like black trim, like velvet trim, would have been really, really nice. That would have been really cool homage to the original one. Ignore the shoes because those aren't Samantha's. Yeah, so you have the jacket, you have the satin gloves, and you have the hat. They're all really furry. I will say mine is a little bit dingy from just existing over time, but I still like it nonetheless. And the buttons are real buttons. Here you can see, which I love those kinds of details. And then this is a Velcro belt. So hypothetically, you could have that open if you wanted to. And this collar is attached to the top. And yeah, this is supposed to mimic like an ermine fur, which of course, very luxurious, very up the time. Love that. Yeah, and Addie just looks absolutely stunning in it. Honestly, I think Addie looks better in this than my Samantha did when I had her in it for like a month, but it's okay, we won't tell Samantha I said that. And here we have Miss Felicity modeling the Christmas gown that was packaged with that outfit that we just saw from Addie. I, again, prefer this one to the original. Oh, I know. I think the exposed lacy top is probably historically inaccurate. I don't know, let me know in the comments. I don't know that a girl Samantha's age would have worn that. It seems a little bit too revealing for the Edwardian age. And I feel the Edwardian age was like very like prim and proper and like prude. So I don't think that they necessarily would have had something like that. But again, let me know if you see historical references that would have been like that. But I think what I like more about this one is the black trim as compared to like the white trim that's on the original one. And I do like the lace, the sheer lace at the top more than the original one, even though the original one is probably more historically accurate. The fabrics honestly feel like very similar. Yeah, I was kind of surprised. I thought that this one would feel more cheap, but the original one already like felt kind of cheap. I'm not saying that they are, I'm just saying like that's my interpretation of how they feel. Yeah, but I honestly love how Felicity looks in this outfit. I think Felicity absolutely stuns in red. yeah, I just think this is a really, really nice outfit, and I think it was really cool that they like paired a dress with the coat. I wish that they would do a little bit more of that in the future. Who knows with the historical collection with American Girl, I don't know. But I really like that kind of concept, and having it, I believe it was released as a Costco set. Let me know down in the comments if that isn't, you know, that's not how you remember it. And yeah, I'm like, can we get more Costco sets for historical releases, please? Like, I want to use my membership for my hobbies. But yeah, let me know down in the comments, like, what do you think? Like, which bicycling outfit do you like better? Which nightgown outfit do you like better? Which winter coat do you like the most? And which Christmas outfit do you like the most? There are more, like even more than like what we're seeing here, but yeah, I just feel like we rip on Be Forever a lot, and I do think that there are a lot of issues with Be Forever. Like, don't get me wrong, there are a lot of things I dislike about that, but I do think that sometimes that conversation overshadows how there were some like really genuinely cute pieces in there. And I think something that when I reflect on Be Forever, when I look at the outfits, it's almost like they like preferentially treated, you know, some collections better than others with that rebrand. It's like Samantha got a lot of like really cute outfits. She got a lot of attention. She honestly got a lot of outfits. Whereas like other characters didn't necessarily get that same treatment. Yeah, I don't know. Let me know down in the comments if you agree, if you, yeah, what, in retrospect, now that it's been like a decade since that rebrand happened, like what are your opinions? And if you're interested in me putting together a video of like a retrospective of the Be Forever era, I would love to do a deep dive into that and kind of look at the good, the bad, the ugly, all those kinds of things. I have her with one of Samantha's original Clara dolls here. Oh, the Nutcracker's upside down. I found this at like a thrift store. If you're looking for one of these, and that black thing was just a hair tie. If you're looking for one of these, I highly, highly, highly recommend going to like antique stores and thrift stores and going to like porcelain doll sections, because that's where I found her. I found her in just hanging around with a bunch of porcelain dolls. The person whose booth it was had no idea that she was Pleasant Company. And yeah, I believe she's one of the older ones because she has like one of the creepier faces and the red eyes as compared to my other one. I mean, yeah, but do you know, if you know around what era this face would have been used, let me know. I'd be curious. So let's wrap up by looking at all of the different paper products and other kinds of products, I guess, that I have associated with Samantha. So we'll just start off by talking about the first and second set of books that I got. So as you can see, they are slightly damaged. This is the style of illustration that I'm used to. These are like exactly the covers that I remember for reading Samantha's book when I was in elementary school, book series, I should say. But I do have like a mismatching Meet Samantha book, and I'm missing the Learns a Lessons book. These are pretty beat up, so once I'm able to get a set that's more complete, more cohesive, I'll probably just end up donating these. And then I also have a full set of the original illustration version. So Samantha just looks very different in these than she does in the other ones. These are paperback. As you can see, I got them from Savers for $1.50 each, which was a great find. And they're in excellent condition. There's no writing in them or anything. Was very lucky to find these. And yeah, just seeing these illustrations of Samantha was like very weird because this is just not the Samantha I was used to. But yeah, really cool collector piece. I do have there's only one set of like the Samantha frame puzzle. So this is the one that comes in the frame, and then I'll post a picture as well of the other puzzles that are hanging up on my bookshelf. This is the Welcome to Samantha's World 1904 book. These are like scrapbook style books that teach you about what it's like to live in the time period of the American Girl doll in question. Here, obviously, it'd be Samantha in 1904. They usually go in like a specific order, kind of going through like daily life throughout the seasons, fashion, toys, life, death, big historical events going on, medicines, things like that. So yeah, these books are really, really great. I love them. Highly recommend getting your hands on these if you can, and if you're interested in, yeah, you can see I got a good deal on this too. If you're interested in history, these are really great. I also have a copy of Samantha's cookbook. Again, like the illustration of Samantha is just like so different than what I'm used to. I haven't actually made any of these. I am vegetarian, so a lot of like the main event dishes have meat or fish in them, as you can see, but I'm thinking about making some of the other ones. If you're interested in a video like that, let me know, or maybe like a TikTok or something. Yeah, but what I love about these as well is it does also like contextualize the story a little bit more. It gives you like little tidbits about like the history, but also like little tidbits about Samantha, and maybe if she ate it at different points in the story, or who would have prepared it and when, and things like that. So I think it's super cute. I have a couple of short stories. One is Samantha's Winter Party, which features Nellie, and in this one, basically Samantha is wanting to have like a little winter holiday celebration. Nellie's lower socioeconomic class is kind of like the main conflict within the story, and Samantha still wants Nellie to be really involved, and at the end Nellie surprises Samantha and all their friends with a kind of more crafty Christmas gift and celebration for them, which is very, very sweet. And then here is Samantha's Blue Bicycle, which involves, as you might imagine, Samantha getting a bicycle for the first time, which of course was a novel invention. And yeah, she falls off and is like afraid to start riding again, and eventually develops the courage to, yeah, get back on. So nice, easy kind of conflict and resolution there. I also have this version of Samantha's Paper Dolls. So this is like a later version, not like the Pleasant Company version. And this was definitely used before. I got this at like a flea market, but I just think it's still cute anyways. So some of these outfits still haven't been cut out. And on the back of the outfits, it tells you like whose it is, and maybe like a quote from it or where it comes up in the story. And then in the back here, there's like a fake little chest where you can open it up and you have the actual dolls and some other outfits. So I haven't cut anything myself, I just kind of left it as is. So we have Samantha, and she's wearing her meat dress. And then there's Nellie and Agnes. We have the winter cloak. We also have a lovely set of backdrops. So the summer cabin, and the other side is like their sitting room, I guess you could call it. Oops. And then this is an insert as well to like kind of round it out. And then there's a whole set of like stickers so you can stick them on there, but otherwise the rest of it is missing, which is like fine with me. I pretty much just use this like for display. If I do find like a fuller version for really cheap, I'll like take it, but I'm not like actively searching for these kinds of things right now. I think I got this at the flea market for like $2, so I was like, yeah, I'll take that, thank you. Yeah, that pretty much wraps it up. So thank you so much for watching. I really, really appreciate it. Again, if you haven't, consider liking, consider subscribing. It really helps out my channel and allows me to do this and share my hobby with you. So thank you again. I hope you have a great rest of your week. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.